So, what if your identity, your community, and even your nation weren't actually tied to a physical place on a map? We're about to dive into this pretty radical shift in how we think about society itself. Just let that sink in for a second. What if your citizenship wasn't some accident of birth, but a real, conscious choice you made? A commitment not to a patch of land, but to a set of ideas, or a culture, or a project you truly believe in, shared with people all over the globe. This is the big question that's driving the whole idea of virtual nations. Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we first need to define what in the world we're even talking about. What is a virtual nation, exactly? Right, so this is way more than just an online forum or some social media group. We're talking about a digital-first society. It's got its own rules, its own governance, a shared culture, and, yeah, often its own economy, built on things like cryptocurrency, all existing without a fixed physical territory. And listen, this isn't just science fiction. This is already happening. You've got actual countries like Estonia offering what they call e-residency, which lets pretty much anyone run a business there digitally. And then you have these more experimental projects like Liberland, Bitnation, and Afropolitan, which are literally trying to build entire national identities from the ground up completely online. Which brings us to the big question, why? I mean, we have traditional countries, right? So what's the appeal of joining one that basically lives on a server? Who's signing up for this, and what are they really looking for? So let's get into the human side of this. What's the motivation here? Well, it turns out there isn't just one simple answer. There are actually several really powerful reasons people are so drawn to this idea. First up, you've got the entrepreneur. For them, it is all about efficiency and opportunity. I mean, imagine being a small business owner anywhere in the world, and suddenly you can access the entire European Union's market, its banking, its legal systems. That's what Estonia's e-residency program makes possible. It's all about creating a frictionless global space for business. Then there's a much, much deeper need. For a refugee or someone who's been displaced by conflict, a traditional passport can be lost, or it can be made completely meaningless overnight. A secure digital identity, maybe one recorded on a blockchain, can become an absolute lifeline. It can restore access to banking, to education, to healthcare. It's a form of identity that can't just be erased because a government collapses. And finally, there's the simple search for belonging, For a digital artist or a coder or any kind of creator, the real community might be scattered across continents. They're connected by shared passions, not shared border. For them, a digital nation or something like a DAO, which is basically a member-owned digital community with no single boss, is a way to make that connection official and build something together that actually reflects their values. But, of course, an idea this revolutionary, it's not simple. It's not easy. For all of its utopian promise, this whole movement is kind of walking a tightrope, and it is loaded with some incredibly complex challenges and, yeah, some pretty big risks. So let's get into the hard questions. What are the real-world problems that pop up when you try to build a nation that's, well, digital? The challenges really boil down to three main areas. First, sovereignty. Can a virtual nation ever get a seat at the UN? I mean, can it be recognized by other countries when it doesn't even have any land? Second, security. If your entire nation exists on a server, what's stopping a massive cyber attack from just wiping it out? How do you protect your citizens from digital fraud? And third, community. Can you really build deep, lasting loyalty to a nation you can't physically go to a flag you can never, ever actually touch? And this really highlights the two sides of this coin. For every incredible promise, there is a pretty serious peril right there with it. The promise of global mobility, it's shadowed by a world of legal gray areas. Radical inclusion for everyone, it's threatened by the potential for really sophisticated digital fraud. And that dream of borderless opportunity, well, it all depends on servers that we know are vulnerable. But here's the thing. Despite all these risks, this idea is not going away. So where could this all be headed? Let's look into the crystal ball a bit and see what the future of citizenship might look like if these trends keep going. Now, obviously, this is speculative, but just imagine where it could lead. By the 2030s, we might see virtual nations setting up embassies in the metaverse. By the 2040s, maybe they're providing healthcare through AI doctors to all their digital citizens. And by the 2050s, it's not totally impossible to picture these digital states negotiating peace treaties, all in a virtual space. When you zoom out, you start to realize this whole movement isn't really about servers or crypto or lines of code. It's about a deep human question that we've always asked. Where do I belong? And what community do I really want to be a part of? After all, a nation has never just been about the land it's on. It's always been an imagined community, a shared story, a shared myth that connects millions of strangers and gives them that feeling of us. The technology is changing for sure, but that fundamental act of imagination, that's not new at all. So, as we wrap this up, here's the thought to leave with. For centuries, we built our communities and our identities on the idea of soil and flags. Now, a new generation is building them with servers and code. It just makes you wonder, as our tools for connection keep evolving, what kind of communities will we choose to imagine next?